Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and it is not a wonderful world, no. And I'm not going to hide, and I'm not going to like sugarcoat this. How many of you tuned out already? It is the Liverpool versus Arsenal post-game show. Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. Let's rock and roll, squaddies. Get ready to have your say in our football democracy.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hey everyone, hope you are, oh fuck it, sorry, shit, oh whatever, I've let all the, hi James, how are you? Stop me swearing.
I've had better Sundays. I've had better Sundays. Let's put it there. But yeah, I said to you, depending on what happens, I might not be here or not. But I'm like, you can't hide. You got to show your face. You got to brave it and front it. So yeah, let's try.
Here we are.
Something out of this.
And also, you know, my T-shirt is a NASA T-shirt, you know, and I really do wish I was on the moon right now. And I don't want to hear anything or anyone saying that I'm overreacting. Sometimes I say to myself, Soph, don't do post-game shows as soon as the final whistle goes. But I have my reasons and my purpose. Before we get stuck into it, please make sure you hit the like button, follow the direction and the instructions of our Grand Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels, getting close to that 20,000 mark. And our Chief Like Officer said, I wonder what she thinks about the second half. And she's saying, I'm blaming Arteta for that, playing for a draw, 1 billion spent. I'm going to put some comments up first, James, and then we're going to get stuck into it. You know, as always, this is a show that belongs to the squaddies. Terence says, new manager desperately needed next season. Good evening, PW. Good evening, Carol. I agree. Us sitting back defending gave Paul the license to win this game. And 2351000. This is more evidence that we will never win a Premier League title under Arteta. Creativity, playing for a draw and being caught out. Martinelli needs to be gone. Why didn't Eze start? That's an ongoing debate in the YouTube comments in terms of how I pronounce his name. Joseph F. Clark, shit the bed FC. Yes, okay, fine. I don't have the ads on. So, and Albert Raid from Arsenal Manic. Thank you, Albert. And your comment is terrible negative manager. Given all of these attackers and midfielders, where's the positive football style? Good evening, Barry, to you too. All very disappointing to lose a game where it was so tactical and about control. Feel like we were more about not losing than winning. What have I been saying to you guys since last season? We've gone from fearless to fearful. We've gone from trying to win a game to trying not to lose a game. DJ says we're playing for a draw. Demsek, frustrating to lose a goal that normally isn't scored. Well, they did score it, didn't they? Josh said, Miss Kai now totally blunt up front. I am not allowing anyone to bludgeon the name of Gyökeres in this game. All right, and we're going to get stuck into it. A few more comments. Trev, thanks for joining. Marina, welcome to you. If only we could play like Bournemouth, no fear. And Brighton 1-0 down against Manchester City. And some will say, oh, they were playing at home, Soph. They played to win the game, and they did. Martinelli experiment must be over now, yet clearly we have trouble selling players. Have we sold Fabio Vieira? Yeah, okay. More comments coming in when Martinelli and Marino had no business starting this game. Title number 14, SHIT manager, 310s and not playing a single one. Max says, enough is enough, nothing in attack, but when opponents have one opportunity, they score. Tactics are pathetic. Go for the win. Andy, hello to you too. Throughout the game, I said if we end up losing whilst trying to nick it, I'll be fuming. We should be braver. Nuclear disaster, lack of creativity in the midfield. Theo says Arteta is an average manager. DS says, can we stop playing passive, safe football? We have a better squad, yet Arteta is always scared. D Gear says, so passive, so boring. Mikel still playing not to lose. Those listening are our audio platforms. I'm reading the comments out from the live audience section. Let's see if you agree or disagree. Maybe you think they're crazy. Maybe you think they're absolutely bang on. How can a manager go to Anfield wanting to win a league game and play 3 DMs? This manager's mentality is in the bin, and exactly why he'll win nothing. I need to sack him, and we need to sack him because we have a great squad. Theo is saying, can't wait to hear from all of Arteta's disciples. G-Star, same old Arteta. Hundreds of you already making your comments heard across all of our social media platforms. I want to make sure your voice is heard. That's what this show's all about. Kandwani, it's all about Arteta today. Why buy top players if you can't use them? Eze and Odegaard should have started. And Albert and James said the same thing, and I've been saying it. You can buy Messi and Ronaldo, but if you're not going to change your ways, you ain't winning games. Barry says we should have realised the second half we would have had to go for it and not rely on that with the players. Liverpool's wonder moment could have been provided. I don't know what that means, but we have to try and actually win a game and go for it.
I think he meant prevented, but he's
prevented. Yeah. Maxine says wrong team selection. Alvin says lineup was wrong, and you could see where Odegaard and Eze came on. First half we were disjointed. We still play like we don't have a striker. Keep the comments coming in. Neil says Arteta once again proved predictable and got found out. Enough is enough. Arteta out. Mal Dixon, Arteta is a coward. That kind of lineup is exactly that, and then failing to change it. I think a lot of Arsenal fans have a problem with it. Julian Salmon says, evening people, what happened at half-time? Are you a Liverpool fan? Shaitanya says, Soph, I'm pissed. That's not how you play a big game. Battles Joint says, the overreaction is crazy. Liverpool probably the best team in the league, and we just expect to turn up. Come on, Battle, come on. When are we going to stop making these stupid excuses? Salim Guna, absolutely shocking, wrong team selection. Mark, good evening to you. Good to see you. Great free kick. But again, Raya's starting position needs to start more central. He did the same last season. Let's get beaten from far to out. Jay says, coward of a manager. It's a shame we won't sack him and didn't sack him 2 seasons ago. Probably would have been 3 in a row. Erwin Blanc says, Liverpool can see goals galore. Surprise, surprise, we rock up and not score. This comment, all of it, absolutely. Woody Wood says, Arteta has no intention of selling Martinelli. Neil Gunnison, I'm beginning to think the defacing of Arteta's mural was justified. Oh, shit. Sometimes I should read them quickly before I post them, but I am the moderator and I put them up as I see fit. Adam says, hey, Soph, such a tough watch. MA has turned AFC into Stoke 2.0. All right. There's tons and tons of them. I'll read one more. See, Lou, this is why I said 2 years ago, get a world-class striker when we had our spine at its peak. Saliba, Rice, Saka. We do have a great striker. I am not hearing anything negative about Gyökeres today. Let's get stuck into it. The starting 11, have your voice heard in our football democracy, everyone. Let us know what you think. James, I can understand from the point of view of the selection. Let's also not forget that there's no Saka, there's no Havertz. Odegaard just coming back from an injury. But, you know, you do have Eze, Madueke, who I thought was sensational today. What did you think of the starting 11? Going into Liverpool knowing they lost the Charity Shield to Crystal Palace. They sucked against Bournemouth. They got super lucky against Newcastle. All of those teams scored goals against them. And the mighty Arsenal unable to do so. James, let's kick off from the starting 11.
As soon as I saw it, I put mine out this morning. And as soon as I saw Arsenal's one today, I weren't impressed. I sort of understood where he was going, because obviously Newcastle the other day absolutely packed their midfield with all their big boys and just, you know, massacred them, didn't they? They just smashed them, smashed into them. And I know Joe Linton, Tonali and whatever ended up having to come off with injuries, but I got what he was trying to do. But at the same point, the Martinelli decision, this is a guy you froze out when we played Leeds at home. That's probably a game for Martinelli where, you know, he might get a goal here or something and that can pick him up. But he completely froze him out. And then in the end, he brought on a 15-year-old boy before he brought on Martinelli. He made Martinelli sit on the bench the whole game. And now he backs him going up to Anfield because he's better at winning duels. He's better defensively. And this is it. That lineup was a lineup to contain, Sophie. It wasn't a lineup to win. It was to contain all of Liverpool's threats. And again, I know a few seasons ago when we went up to Man City and we got the draw, and even the draw that we got last season because we were down to 10 men at points and everything else, I understood why they were good points. But now, when you've got 172 million spent in the summer on a strike force and you don't back it, you've seen how, like you said, now these guys are smarter than I'll ever be. They've got data, they've got numbers, they've got statistics of everything way levels above what I would ever have access to at my fingertips. And yet they still went there to contain it. Like you said, Canate, he's had a turd hammock in his shorts every game he's played this season. He looks like he's been learning Spanish and bricking himself because he wants to leave and he doesn't want to be there. He looked like prime Paolo Maldini today. We made him look, he looked brilliant against us, Canate. It was absolutely ridiculous. And this is why I backed Liverpool to win it again and not Arsenal. And people were like, well, how? And I went, Liverpool have shown they can be dominated. They can play awful. They'll score a goal out of nothing and win. Because they'll keep going. They have that ethos of, we'll keep going. We're going to get a chance. We're going to do something. You know, we're going to have a go. Us lot, let's just keep going back round. We might get a corner in a minute. We might get a corner. We might score from a set piece. You've got to be more. You've got to give more. And now, where, you know, and I've had people going at the Cronkies. Some people earlier in the window were going at Berta. They've done their job. Like I said to you the other day, all he's got to do is win football matches now. And he's shown today in one of his biggest games that he's going to have of the season. And I know it's early, and I know you can't lose the title from here and everything. But mentality-wise, to go up there and play with no fear and win would have been a massive statement. And we've choked it. We have choked it today. And we've only got ourselves to blame for it.
Very, very well said, James. And one thing I will add to this is we had them on the ropes. I felt in the first half, starting 11, I agree with you, right? I also get why he did it. I agree with you there too. But the goal is to suffocate and contain them. And you did that in the first half. I thought we were the better team. I thought we suffocated them. I thought that we were able to play the way that Mikel had probably dictated in training and in all of the team meetings. I get that. That's fine with me. In the second half, though, Slot started making adjustments. And I believe the difference between Klopp was a superb, legendary manager, right? What Slot has done with Liverpool is taken all of the components that Klopp created to make this Liverpool team great, and he tweaked the maturity, responsibility on the defensive side. And a lot of people will look at this and say, Florian Wirtz, what a flop, what a waste of money. If we're going to say the same thing with Gyökeres, right? Gyökeres grinded out his performance today. Wirtz grinded out his performance today, stuck in the game. Like, these creative players are being stifled because they're being asked to do too much defensively and responsibly. But Slot, the difference is he still maintains what makes Liverpool great. And that is not giving up, putting your foot on the gas, changing things and tweaking things just a little bit, and going at your opponent to put a little bit of fear in them that then makes them question how they behave on the pitch, how they adapt their tactics on the pitch. And he did that in the second half. His substitutes totally changed the game. And he made those subs early enough to be able to affect and change the game. And he's managed this brilliance of, I'm going to be responsible and defensive, but I'm also not going to lose the color, the character, and the integrity and personality of my team in what makes us great and allows players to flourish, to be able to have those moments on the attack. And I know that it ended up being a worldy free kick that beat us, but we were under the cosh in the second half. We were on the ropes. We were like Rocky Balboa against Apollo Creed at the end of, like, you know, Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. And it ended up being like Drago that comes in the fourth. It's like, if he dies, he dies. I will break you. And I felt like we were crushed again by the personality of a team and the ability of another manager to make changes and affect the game. Because what we do, and James, I want you to correct me and tell me if this is fair or foul. We make like for like changes. We don't bring on Eze and Odegaard and say, run free, go break them up front. We bring them on and it's the same criteria. Win your duels, track back, make sure you are as good off the ball as you are on the ball. And I'm not overreacting. And this is something we've seen before. I felt so confident all week that we were going to go and win this game. And I just feel like if you're starting Marino in midfield and you've just bought Eze, who played in the Charity Shield like 2.5 weeks ago, don't tell me that guy's not ready to play football. It just seemed to me that we're doing the same thing over and over again. And the players gave everything today. And I felt like in that second half, after they gave everything, James, it was down to the manager to give them something back and say, right, you've done your part. Now I'm going to give you the tools and the arsenal to go win this game. And he just didn't do it when we had Liverpool on the ropes.
Yeah, no, we're reactive, not proactive. You know, you should have when you got to that 0-0 at half time, you should have seen that you saw what Martinelli had been like that entire half. For him and Marino to get 70 minutes, that in itself's a criminal offence. Martinelli, you knew Martinelli had no more to give at half time. So I would have gone, right, Eze, backing you now. Get on there now. Because within 5 minutes of him being on, he was more productive in that 5 minutes than Martinelli had been in the whole game. And I think Odegaard, apart from nearly every time that he receives the ball, he has to do a pirouette for some reason. I don't understand what that's all about, but hey, that's a different argument for a different day. But he was trying to do passes that Moreno hasn't got in his locker. This is what again, going back on the line, I was like, you know, this guy isn't good enough on the ball. And you've seen all season that Liverpool are susceptible from balls in behind to players with pace. Look at Kirkes against Madueke today. He was dreadful. Madueke had him basically every single time. And that's another thing as well is when we're seeing that, our players aren't going, just keep playing to that right-hand side. They're still trying to get Martinelli to go down the left. The left was non-existent today. Declan Rice. You know, big name player, big price tag, but I'm not afraid to call out players that have got the big names and the big price. Awful today. Zubamendi. Want to love the guy. Awful today. Awful.
I thought he was good in the first half. I did. He made some really good breaking line passes to Noni on that right side. But in the second half, yeah, he faded. He disappeared.
Yeah, but the thing for me, Sophie, is that, again, you say about Slot and the substitution, and you're spot on. But also, Slot knows last season I had the best attack by 7 goals more than anyone else in my league. We have the best defence in the league, but at the same point, Arteta doesn't channel that and go, let's loosen the shackles a bit, because I've got the best defence in I've got a brilliant back four and I've got a brilliant goalkeeper. He just keeps it the same. I'm like, you've got to be more bold, especially in a game like this against who's arguably going to be your opponent for the title. You know, you stifled all of your creativity really with your lineup choice, because as much as Moreno might win the ball up high, He might win a header. He might smash into somebody. He's never good. He hasn't got the pace and he hasn't got the ball control or the passing range to create anything for you. And again, people getting onto Gyökeres when you're not given really a chance to show what you can do. He had no help. He had no service again.
Yeah, he didn't. I just want to read a couple of other messages out from Alvin. Gyökeres did not get the service needed. Madueke was the best player on the pitch. Manaf says this is on Arteta. He should have started with Eza. Jojo Rabbit said, I love that. What a great movie. Oh, I love that film. Ever since Declan Sideways joined, its corners on. I thought Declan was horrendous today. You guys want to big him up. He's like Mr. Cool and everything. I love Declan. But same energy. If we're going to berate Martinelli for his performance, then we have to be fair. Declan was awful in the first half. His delivery was awful. Zubimendi, you want to pick on Zubimendi? He was a lone man wolf in the first half today. And he still was able to break the lines and make passes. Declan, I don't know about this double pivot, how the midfield sets up. Just real quick before I read out some more comments, James. Midfield in particular, I was talking to Stevie Nicol. Stevie Nicol was fearful of this game. The legendary Liverpool player, ESPN FC analyst, was so afraid of this game because of two things. One, how Liverpool were leaking goals. Two, how awful Konate had been so far this season. And three, how the record signing Florian Wirtz hadn't played ball yet. We talked about it on Friday. And all of those things, maybe barring Wirtz, but I felt like he did what he worked in the shadows more than he had a couple of good shots in the end, but Slot corrected all of those things before this game today. So I want to ask you about the Arsenal midfield because it's a contentious conversation. So many people are like, Declan's better in the double pivot. Declan's a 6. No, he's an 8. Zubimendi's X, Y, and Z. He's not as good as Thomas Partey or Jorginho. Listen, I don't accept that. I think Zubimendi is a class player. And I think that, he's able to do defensively much better than what Jorginho did. Talk to me about the midfield, James.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I know that, but it was wrong from the off. Again, I hate repeating myself. I just feel like I'm just pressing play again on a cassette, or I've got a pull string and I've just got the same 6.
I love a cassette tape. I still have a boombox, James. I've still got my boombox in my garage.
Good. And I know you said earlier about you've got your NASA shirt on and you're in space. I'm wearing an old school WWF Razor Ramon t-shirt. Well, Razor Ramon's finishing move was called the Razor's Edge, and that's what Arsenal didn't have. We had no one to cut through. All the evidence was there on how you go to Liverpool today and get a point, maybe even 3.
But James, you said we had no one to cut through. Who's the cutter?
Well, for me, and I know people will go, oh, but if Odegaard, you knew Odegaard, you've just done.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, stop. Come on, are you freaking joking me? Funny hat.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never seen your name before in our live chat, but you're so freaking way off base.
Yeah, I don't.
Literally just shut. Yeah, really? Seriously? I'm sorry. I'm not having it today.
We don't platform racists either. I'm just saying. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Carry on, James.
Yeah, for me, you've done all that in the summer with Ethan Nwaneri, where he re-signed. You did all that promo, all that video. You didn't back him. I'd have gone. Nwaneri would have been a better choice than Marina, and people would have gone, "Oh, he'd have got bullied out there today." I don't think he would have. I think Nwaneri would have been fine if he played today. I think he would have been fine. I don't think
he doesn't trust him.
No, clearly. I'm like you had to have people that were better on the ball than what you gave us. And again, that all goes to him picking that lineup, and you know, Saliba as well. The injury, Soph. He got injured in the warm-up.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I kind of went too far deep in with the midfield. And keep your comments coming in. I'm putting them as much as I can up on the screen. As you know, Highbury Squad, everyone gets their say here. There's no super chats. There's none of that stuff. Keep them coming in, and I'll put them all up. Even if I don't read them out, they'll be up on screen for everybody to see. And if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, make sure that you let us know what you think. And if you're listening on replay, which many of you will be, on YouTube, let us have your say in comments. And a big shout out to my bro in Australia, Georgie George, and Archangel, who are usually in chat. I love those guys, and I just wanted to say hello. I said something on the old X regarding this, and a few people came at me, right? And James and I talked about this a little bit last week, okay? And the manner in which Saliba went down so quickly, and the manner in which, by the way, not even Wonder Woman or the Batman could have changed into their costumes quicker than Mosquera was lifted off the bench to come into the game. And I made a post and I said that, and I said, something's off here. They knew he was injured beforehand. And a few people were like, oh, what are you, like, you know, you're looking into your crystal ball, a conspiracy theorist? Yeah, all of those things, because I was right. This is in warm-up where one of the physios is helping Saliba. This shit has got to stop. Why would you risk him? I don't care if it's Liverpool. The value of this player is greater than anybody else on the team, barring Saka. You cannot afford to lose Saliba. You cannot play with injuries. Have you not learned from what's happened last season? And the fact that he continued, like, I don't know if Saliba said, I'm good to go. You need to be more responsible too as the player. But don't do this. Allow Mosquera the opportunity maybe to warm up differently, to have a conversation with you, to talk to Gabriel. Maybe they did all of those things, but this to me is irresponsible. James.
Yeah, it goes back to something contentious. You know, it was a little contentious topic in the last episode. A player in a game of this magnitude is never going to go, I'm not okay. But there's times where when you're a manager, when you're in charge, you got to go, I don't care what you're saying as the player. I'm thinking about it in the long term. And I will freely, because I've seen some people going on about, well, Mosquera was brilliant when he come. We're not having a go at Mosquera.
Oh, he did his job.
For me, 3 players walk off that pitch today with their head held high, and that's Madueke, Mosquera, and Calafiori. I thought the 3 of them, especially Mosquera, was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, because when Saliba went off, there was no noticeable drop-off, in that back 4. They still played how an Arsenal back 4 normally play. You know, you weren't panicking, and that is a testament to him coming on, and doing what he was doing. But yeah, for me, there's got to be more. I don't know if even if from a medical side, completely separate from Arteta, I don't know if there's no one in there in that medical side that's got the stones to actually go to Mikel and go, nah, do not play. Because I think he wouldn't listen to him. I know this seems like it's a big dig in Arteta session, but I think Arteta would go, because he was a player as well. He would say, if the player says to me, I'm good, then I'm going with what the player's saying to me. I don't think he would listen to the people around him that say to him, I'm not sure about this, boss.
Demsek's asking, if the medical team say Saliba is fine to play, what then? Okay, so it's everything in Arsenal's done by committee. I've been told, like, from, signing players to everything. The medical team can say he's fine to play, but it's the beginning of the season. We've already lost Saka. We've already lost Havertz. Urian Timber is back but has been in and out. Benjamin White is out. Calafiori's been up and down. The bottom line is you do not take any risks whatsoever with your best asset. What you do is you trust the player that you have gone into the marketplace to buy to fill in the gaps. You got rid of Kivior because you didn't think that he was good enough and that we could raise some funds selling him because you think Nkapie's better and Mosquera's better. So trust the players and play them. Let Saliba rest now. There's an international break, which means he wouldn't have trained, if he picked up the injury before in the warm-up, just let him go and let him rest for a couple of weeks before our next game because we've still got big games coming up against Forest. Yeah, they got battered today, but they've got all sorts of problems there. And Newcastle, which is going to be super physical.
And City. And then the Champions League
and Manchester
starts.
City. And then the Champions League
so
starts.
much fun. So much fun.
So you just don't take any risks. And I would like to start making...
We've got players there, sorry. So we got players there right now that are currently hurt and not in the squad. They are basically screaming as loud as you possibly can. They cannot play 3 games a week. What do you think he's going to do? Do you think once Saka's back that he's not going to play him all 3 times in 1 week?
This is someone needs, James, to pull Mikel aside. These are huge investments. We're talking about a multi-million dollar team that generates billions of dollars and the club is worth billions of dollars, right? You have been... Now, look, right now we're looking at a situation where... And let me just bring up the lineups and stuff like that, right? Because I said to Stevie Nicol on Friday that I felt our bench was better than Liverpool's, right? So our bench is Mosquera, Odegaard, Eza, Dalman, Kepa, Trossard, Waneri, Lewis Skelly, and Harriman Anus, right? Who most Arsenal fans don't even know who he is. Let's be fair. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I'm going to guess that just like not many people knew who Nkapie was, let's not pretend we know who everyone is. Liverpool's was Gomez, Endo, Chiesa, Jones, Bradley, Elliott, their Mamadashvili, the goalkeeper, and Robertson, and the young kid who scored against Newcastle. I think our bench is really, really good. I think we have a really...
They're phasing out about 3 of those players. If they could get bids tomorrow for 3 of those players, they're probably leaving.
Our players or their players?
Liverpool's. If they got bids in for Harvey Elliott,
Gomez is always injury prone.
Gomez. If they got Guehi, Gomez would go.
Yeah. Chiesa stays, Jones stays, Bradley stays, Elliott is on the, but I would also say, like, we just signed Trossard and gave him a pay rise, and, but when you look at our bench, that's a really good bench. I don't care what anybody says. And for me, I think that why start Saliba? Just start. And Mosquera, I just want to make sure that everyone knows right here, this guy came in for his debut, all right, didn't blink. He had a bit of a shaky start, no doubt about that. But my goodness, I bet Gabriel's buying him a drink, if he drinks or not. He performed. It is not easy, James. He came in and he delivered.
I really did, yeah. And I mean, he was good last week at right back. He showed that he's got the ability to play both. But yeah, again, that's his 2nd appearance in the Premier League, and I don't really think he put a foot wrong. I thought he was one of our better players, like I mentioned earlier, along with Calafiori.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
There was a warning sign. David Raya saves us in games, and then he makes stupid mistakes. That was the warning shot, right? I felt that. Let's talk a bit about defensively. These guys played their hearts out. I mean, they played their hearts out. Calafiori today had one of his best games for Arsenal, and he's come under fire for his defensive work. I thought that he was really good today.
All I saw, Soph, before the game was, oh, Mo Salah's going to absolutely wreck him. Mo Salah's going to absolutely have Calafiori on. So
he had him in
he
his
was
back
fine.
pocket.
He was
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. Urian Timber has been one of our best players so far this season. That guy, and you know what I liked? You could see he was getting frustrated with some of our players at times, not being up to standard, not meeting the mark where they needed to be. And I thought that Timber was great, Calafiori was great, and Mosquera really came into a tough situation and played a great game. We talked about the midfield. So let's go to the forward line, right? I thought Noni Madueke was brilliant today. This guy, not only does he rock this third kit, by the way, and I'd like to say I was wearing bandanas way before Noni came, but as you can see today, I'm paying homage. Got a blue one on today. I thought he was superb. I thought he was trying to create situations that weren't there. He didn't hold on to the ball too long. He made good decisions when nothing was there. He tried his own pathway to create and manipulate situations. He, he was very well marked, and he still got the ball away when he needed to. Maybe a couple of opportunities where Gyökeres could have been fed a little bit differently. But he was doubled up today, like Saka, Noni. They didn't really give him too much space and time, and he made the most of his space and time. He won several corners. He won free kicks. And I thought that in a situation where he's coming in for Saka, who's played well at Anfield, that right side today, Noni was really good. And let me tell you where he was let down. Because... And tell me if you think I'm off or I'm right here. You really need your midfield to come into the final third and support you as much as possible. And I felt like Noni and Gyökeres were in no man's land sometimes. Just when you need that extra movement or that extra pass from the midfield charging forward. And I've seen a few squaddies say, who's the 6, who's the 8, right, with Zubi and Declan. And we chatted about the top of the show. But I felt like sometimes, and it happened more in the second half when Odegaard and Eza came into the foray, and you could see, the connectivity, the support, the extra ball. He didn't get any of that from the midfield in the first half. Am I off or on that one, James?
No, you're right. Again, it was to contain Soph. There was no bravery in it. You know, we've gone to Anfield before in seasons gone by, and like you said, when you've got your wingers running up and everything, there's like someone at the edge of the box to take. I mean, last season, the shot from Odegaard that went in, the header from Marino, is people that are the midfielders arriving late into the box of stuff that's been created by your wingers. And today, they were like, oh, well, we're just going to stay where we meant to be in case the counters. I'm like, there was no endeavour there. There was no bravery. And I always say it, and you always say it back to me. That's why we get on, and that's why we do everything that we normally do. A team is a reflection of their manager. And our manager, again, before a ball was kicked, didn't show bravery. That's...
Yeah.
And I know there's people saying it's one game and it's only September.
But it's not one game. It's not one game, is it, James? It's not. It's for the same reason we want players to evolve and move forward, the manager has to as well. And no one's sitting here saying, like, not between James and I, like, sack him today. He has to evolve. What a few of the squaddies have written in here, he has no plan B. And I said earlier in the show, he's like for like. What does he do to actually take risks? Mikel Merino is a default big risk he took. I'm going to put Mikel Merino up front as a default 9. And you know what? He's better as a default 9 than he is in the midfield. That's my opinion, but some of you may agree or disagree with it. But there's take the handbrake off. Unleash the creative players. Let them play ball. And you're seeing a little bit now, Chelsea have had a little bit of luck with Maresca, but look at Pep today.
Oh,
Pep
they
was
had a huge bit of luck yesterday, Chelsea. I won't hear nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
For however good they are,
Yeah.
yesterday was a disgrace.
No. Well, we'll get to that. I meant in terms of strategy and how Maresca sets up and how he plays, because Maresca, Pep, and Arteta are pretty similar in terms of control, the way they want the possession obsession. And today it bit Pep on the arse. City were 1-0 up and they weirdly went defensive. And this is a City team that would have put their foot on the accelerator and smashed that team 4 or 5-0. And I just think that Mikel doesn't have a plan B. And I used to challenge Kev about this, and he's like, of course he has a plan B. I'm like, well, tell me what. To me, it just seems he makes subs, and that's it. I just think today there was an opportunity to get a goal and defend the line with a 1-0, and we just didn't create enough chances, and we're setting Gyökeres up to fail. You cannot set up like this, invest that money in that man and that player, and set him up to fail like that. It's crazy.
I see Melvin's in the chat. Melvin, come on with me. I love Melvin, and he's put plan A question mark. I'm like, yeah, people are going on about plan B. Well, his plan A failed. Let's be brutally honest. He didn't get plan A correct. So.
Good evening to Melvin. So, Sophie, if he had done what you suggest and lost 4-0, what would you be saying? No. You're not listening. I'm a real gunner. I'm not saying go gung-ho like we have before and lose the game. Slot is the perfect example of the balance of both. Have the defensive discipline. Be mature when you're on the ball and off the ball. Take your chances when they come and just let 1 or 2 players, it doesn't have to be 2. Salah's got the creative freedom to do and move around the building as he wishes. Like, maybe you're seeing Martinelli struggle. Everyone can. Trust your other players. Other players can win defensive duels too. Other players can be good off the ball too. So why not in the second half give Eza the opportunity to come on, or if our captain's fit, take Marino off and bring Odegaard on. Bring them both on in the second half. Everyone keeps talking about Odegaard, and he leads the press. Then trust him. If he's on the bench, he can play. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying go out and lose 4-0. I'm just going out and saying try and get a goal and win 1-0. And I just don't think he's doing.
It's like you said, before that goal come, they had a good 15 to 20 minute spell there where they were up. And we were inviting stuff on, and it felt inevitable to me. The minute that free kick got given, I thought to myself, before he even took it, I thought they might score from this. I hated myself for it, but then when it went in, and I'm getting everyone swearing and all my group chats and everything, I was like, well, I'm not really shocked, and I hate saying that. I don't want to sit here and think that but again, I only thought to myself, the only way Arsenal were going to lose is if Arsenal beat themselves. And it's, I know Zubamendi had to make that tackle because Curtis Jones was, he was running through or whatever. But we just left it, positionally, we just left ourselves in an area where, we knew we were going to get caught out, and we have. And I mean, there's a break now, and I guess it's a case of regroup.
I've heard this again. Same thing. Freaking same thing. Like
regroup and go again. How many years is it going to be regroup and go again? I mean, like I said, 172 million outlay on forward players. If you can't trust Eze to start against Liverpool away after you've bigged him up and everything, and he personally rang him, and he then called the meeting with Berta and Josh about getting him in due to Havertz's injury. The first opportunity he's got to play him, now you're sitting on the bench, mate. You're sitting on the bench.
I want to highlight this comment from Dial Square. Arteta has said that he had to play. By the way, Demsec, do we have any quotes from the gaffer? If so, please put them up with a MA in front so I see them. You're really usually good at doing that for us. Dark Square here. Arteta has said that we had to play this midfield because players like Havertz are injured. Does he know how to play without Havertz, Odegaard, and Saka? I mean, it's a genuine question.
Yeah.
Does
Well, I mean,
he know?
I think there's examples there today that have shown you that you can, but whether he backs it enough, because this is it, is that okay, if there is no Saka, but then there's also no, it's a case of, well, are you going to go with Moreno again? I mean, again, it's the whole styles make fights type sort of analysis and an analogy. But you got to understand your opponents better.
Yeah, I agree.
Because again, the blueprint, like we keep saying, the blueprint to beat them was there, but yet in his head, for whatever reason, in his mind, and again, it's like you said, can he evolve? Well, I've seen 6 years. I don't think he can.
James, Omar Gunner here. Our corners were poor. Why is Rice taking 4 outswingers? Let Madueke try an in-swinger once. I mean, it's just simple stuff sometimes. La Doyle says, I'm sorry to say this, Sophie, but when it boils down to it, Arteta is just a coward, and that's it. The next manager we will get in will win everything with this squad. Top 4 trophy. We can afford a maximum of 3 losses this season, 1 down already. This is huge. This is huge. Liverpool lost 2 games last season?
Yeah.
2 games, or was it 1? And to follow up, Tony says, if you can't win, don't lose. And you know what? It was a worldie free kick. You can't account for that. It was absolutely stunning. And he had come under fire, Szoboszlai, including from Stephen Nichols saying, Slot better not play him at right back. The difference is, like, that is the mark of champions. Against Newcastle, Newcastle played better against Liverpool in an attacking sense than we did with 11 players, and they had 10. I'm sorry, that's my truth. And the thing is champions and good teams find a way to win. They did. They scored. They won 3-2. We are not taking our opportunities when they come to us. Or even more alarming, we're not creating those opportunities to allow a player like Gyökeres. And I don't want to hear like people saying he's overweight. Is he fit? No one was saying that when we thrashed Leeds and he scored on his debut and he ran through 3 players.
I'd love
what are we
to know,
doing here?
I'd love to know, Soph, if Stevie still felt the same when he saw the lineup. Because if he saw Martinelli playing against Szoboszlai at right back, I bet you he didn't panic at all. You'd think with all of his pace and everything else that Martinelli does have, and I'm trying my best now to really not scapegoat the guy. I'm really, because I hate coming onto places and making it sound like you hate players or, you're really slating a player. But he did absolutely nothing. Szoboszlai had a free game. He had a completely free game, other than that one moment in the first half where he did do him, and he should have played Gyökeres in straight away, but he held on to it a bit longer and then carried on running, looking at his feet like he always does. He never picks his head up.
Right here, James?
That's it. Yeah, but then after that, he was like near where the byline and that was, wasn't he? And then he just looked at his feet. Just looked at his feet, and that's it. This
is exactly what happened. Do you remember? This is why sometimes doing the same thing over again is the sign of madness. What we're showing right now for those listening on Apple and Spotify is the image where Martinelli's running through the middle. He's got Gyökeres on his left side. He can play the ball. This is what happened at Anfield with the pass he had to Saka. We could have won that game 2 seasons ago. And again, I'm not scapegoating him because he's not the reason why we lost today, but he's also the one of the reasons why we weren't prolific up front to create chances for our 65 million signing. Why Madueke didn't have support, like the crossover. When you got the ball on the right, sometimes you just want some movement from the left and the middle, and he just didn't have that. Yes, mate.
If I'm Martinelli tomorrow, I'll be brutally honest. I'm trying to find a way out, because I think I can't see how he gets back in once everybody's fully up and raring. I really don't. I don't see where now. You know, sometimes you outgrow players in your squad, like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. They're playing the football that we were playing 2 years ago when they arrived. They're not
Mhm.
playing the way that we're trying to be now. So they don't fit in with this current team. And Martinelli, for me, he's not at the level of what we're getting. If you're going to keep playing him with Gyökeres, then he's got to learn that when you get that ball and you see him, you have to release him early. You have to. You can't go this way that you're going. And
Mhm.
you know, it's very reminiscent to me a bit of like what happened with Rashford at United. He's outgrew that team. That team's outgrew him. He's outgrew that team, and
Mhm.
a move would be the best thing for him. And I look
So,
at Martinelli and I love him. I don't want to be this way, but I'm like, you don't fit in this team. You don't anymore. I'm like, even in pre-season, he didn't look great then, and he doesn't look good now at all. He
So,
really doesn't.
James, is it fair to say when listeners and fans like Demsek, and we've said it about Zinchenko, we said it about the Reece Nelsons, the Emil Smith Rose, we've said it about various players. So, Demsek saying the team has moved on from Martinelli, even with support on the left, he can't make the right choice. So, we keep saying that about the players. Why is it fans who say similar about the manager are scolded? Like, the players can bring you so far.
Because
The players
the
can.
manager's got the PR and Martinelli doesn't.
It's so. I felt for the players today. I felt for the players because I felt like they wanted to go out and win that game. It felt to me that they were ready to do that. And some people will say, well, once you cross the white lines, and the great man used to say that, it's down to the players. But the players seem to me like, don't stay in your lane. It's a stay in your lane type philosophy, James.
Yeah, spot on.
But I
I
feel
mean,
like
I've just seen the comment here where it's like Trossard doesn't fit in, but we gave him a pay rise. Explain that one. I can't. He's another one. He's another one. Should never have been given a pay rise. I'm like, you've got a guy here that you've been trying to shift all summer, but no one's coming in for him because his wages are too high, and so you've decided to up his wages. Mental.
By the
Mental.
way, do you remember? Were you on the show with me, or was it Albert when I said when I was doing the transfer window shows in the summer, and I gave people like this wild card signing to make, and mine was Jack Grealish. People laughed at me and said, "No, no, 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 no." You know, I'm just saying right now, I'd rather Jack Grealish than Martinelli.
He wouldn't let Jack Grealish be Jack Grealish though.
No, that's the problem. So this is why I'm saying you want players to evolve.
Jack Grealish probably doesn't win his duels, Sophie. He doesn't defend. You know, this is what I was saying on my show the other week, right? You're like me. You were old school. Used to go to Highbury, and I can only cover the period that I was born in. So you were Highbury 90s and 2000s, even though you were here, there, and everywhere with your work and what have you, weren't you?
Sure, fine. I'm old enough to be Dalman's grandmother. You know.
Well, I didn't want to go there.
I'm actually going to be on Tuesday.
Your words, not mine.
I'm going to be 54 years old next week.
Is that Virgo season? Because that is the best.
It is Virgo season. Virgo is in season. Yeah.
But yeah, I used to come out of those. I was a season ticket holder with the father at East Stand Upper, right? So I've seen this Invincibles. I've seen the '98. I see the 2001. I never come out with my dad, with other family members, with all the people we sat with. God, Robert Pires today, didn't he win all his duels? Why are we talking about a forward player, how good he is defensively? It's counterproductive to me. It just sounds stupid. I'm like, is this the level that we're going at? Like, weren't he brilliant defensively, Martinelli, today? I'm like, you know, I never went, oh, Ian Wright won all these tackles, didn't he? Brilliant. Oh, weren't Carnu really strong in the chat? Weren't he good in his duels? And I'm like, because this manager obsesses over these things, now the fans seem to, oh, well, if this manager's this way, we've got to be this way. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I want to
That
see
is
if he can
such a good
score.
point.
I want to see if he can score a goal. I want to see if he can get an assist. Why am I talking about him defending? He's a forward. Weird.
Turns out I've got a lot of fellow Virgo squaddies in the house, by the way. So my love to my fellow Virgos, including our chief like officer, Tammy Steels. And, you know, Newman always in with the good stuff right there. Happy birthday to all my September babies and the late August babies and all the Virgos. And James, you're absolutely 100% right. Who came out of the stadium back in the day saying, "Oh, Freddie Ljungberg won his duels"? It's a great point. People never used to talk about that, ever. It was always like, well, right, he didn't get on the ball. Well, right, he didn't score. Well, right, he didn't get into the final third. Not, oh, well, right, he did win his duels. Did you see that defensive move right he made? What's happened to football? Oh, my God. What has happened to football? Should we talk about the 90s instead?
Well, I'm like, are we clutching to try and justify him as a player? Like I said, I don't like digging out a player whatsoever, and he's very easy to scapegoat today because he was awful. Same as Miko Moreno. But I'm like, I don't see it. Once everybody's fit and everybody's back, other than cup games or being a sub player, which if I'm Martinelli, I would back myself that I can still start every week. I don't see where he gets in.
Yeah, I don't either. We're now doing which zodiac sign. It's more exciting than talking about the predictability of Martinelli.
We're both the same, so
we are,
we're quite biased.
I was born in the year where we won the double, and yes, for those who can't see it listening on audio, I am rocking my Noni Madueke headband, different color coming at you every day this week. Okay, so
yeah, you have been Bloods and Crips this week, so it's very confusing where you align in the LA gang wars. But
I really lit the fire of some haters when I was on Sky Sports talking about the Champions League draw. I'll post that video for you squaddies to see it in case you missed it. But of course, people always, coming at me for the way I look and the usual stuff.
You were brilliant, and Paul Merson, bless him, there was a lovely little smile there when you said
that was.
He knew.
Thank you, James.
It meant a lot to him. You could tell because that again. What 90s Arsenal players getting it in the back? That's something to pull your fans on because it was Tony Adams the week before. It's Paul Merson this week. So get your bets.
It was Thierry last year.
I'm lumping a fiver. I think Winterburn is due. He's going to get. I think it's going to be Nigel Winterburn next week.
Let's start taking bets. And let's not forget, Arsenal fans who want to build a statue of him now are the same Arsenal fans that ripped Ian Wright to pieces for suggesting Saka should play left back. All right, so don't forget where you came from or what you said. A disappointing result in the end. Going to have to change this thumbnail because it's not appropriate now. Although Gabriel's super cool in his shades in the third kit, it just didn't work out that way. Unfortunately, Saliba is down. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. Credit to Mosquera for coming on in place of one of our best signings, building up a really good kindredship and understanding with Big Gabby. Unfortunately, Martinelli showed a little bit too much of what we've seen of late. Thought Zubimendi was really good in the first half, but he was a bit of a lone man wolf. I thought Declan Rice had one of his poorest games. Calafiori, Timber, and Mosquera again. Giants hit the back and definitely did their part to hold Liverpool at bay. But unfortunately, up front, we weren't able. And I think Martinelli held us back. Had Eza been on the left side, because Madueke was superb on the right. Again, a bit of a low man wolf. Same with Gyökeres. And unfortunately, Eza wasn't able to come on with Odegaard and affect the game. I agree with James Bench here. It's very strange for a team to be without their three absolute best players away to the champions. And the suggestion from the pundits is that they should be going for the win. We're judged differently, but you know what? At some point, you've got to take accountability and responsibility. There's only so much you can defend what you see over a period of time that is the same and nothing changes. And I thought this was the time to beat Liverpool. They've been vulnerable at the start of this season.
So can I just quickly chip in on that, though?
Yeah.
Right. and I hate going back to it, but I will. This lot behind me, the Invincibles, that core 11 that everyone said was the best. So Lehman, Lauren, Campbell, Torre, Cole, Vieira, Gilberto, Pires, Lundberg, Henri Bergkamp. I think in the league, they only played 2 games together. That whole starting 11 only managed 2 games together. So when you had the backups and people that weren't coming in that necessarily weren't on that level, because they had the mentality to still go out there and win. And obviously, yes, they had credit in the bank because they'd won things before, and we haven't won something big yet. But like you've said, eventually your mind shift has got all this. Oh, 3 of the best players are out. 3, got to go out all out to win. I get what James Benge is trying to say, and I'm not trying to, cause a James war here. But there comes a point where even with these players that aren't Saka, that aren't Havertz, Ben White, whatever you want to call, you've done 170 million on forward players. This is about the 5th time I've said it. So it's not like these aren't mugs. This wasn't a Rob Holding away at Man City situation.
Yeah, well said.
These are now, you can rotate these in and out and still have enough to go there, but you've got to impose yourself. And we haven't, again. And that is the most annoying and hurtful thing.
Imposing yourself is really a good point. And
there's only so many times you can be kicked in the nuts before you go, do you know what? I don't want to be kicked in the nuts anymore, please.
Yeah, because it is painful. I mean, I don't know. I've never been kicked in the nuts. I don't have them, but I mean, I wonder if it's the same pain as being like kicked in the breast. I don't think it is. It seems painful. Oh, you know what? We have more painful things like giving birth and the monthly gut ache. I would just leave it at that. And you know what? I'm tired of the excuses. People are going to come and say, "Oh, well, we did." James has just put it brilliantly. You're tired of getting kicked in the nuts, and at some point, you've got to change the narrative.
And we're not Man United. We don't hype losses. We don't hype up losses, Soph.
Yeah. Well, John says, thanks, Sophie and James. No, we're not. Thanks, Sophie and James and everyone. Great show and had everything, no doubt. Look at that squaddies. Feels like more than a loss. It feels like a missed opportunity of gigantic proportions. Before we go, I did want to mention this. I don't know if he's going to be on the show tomorrow, but on Mondays, we're going to be getting Keith Hackett on the show to talk about refereeing decisions. I felt like the referee in our match did decent today. I think he got most things right. But, one of the things, I hate VAR. I hate what happened to Fulham. And finally, PGMOL acknowledged that they made a huge mistake with the disallowed Fulham goal at Chelsea. The ref, thank goodness, the VAR was pulled off our game because of what happened yesterday. This is just getting so old. And we are only 3 games in. And we've seen the worst decision ever in the history of VAR. And if you're a Fulham fan, I feel for you. We've all been there, but not to this extent and level, James. This was the worst of the worst.
I feel for the kid. Was it King? Josh King?
Yeah, Josh King. His first ever goal.
Yeah. I mean, I've scored goals at my local recreational park and gone insane when I used to play. This guy scored in a Premier League against their, all right, they're not necessarily rivals, but they're their closest rivals, aren't they, in proximity, Fulham and Chelsea. And through no fault of his own. And again, it's never the way they come on the headset, reckless challenge. I'm like, it's not a challenge. It's a guy doing a spin, and Saliba's tight on him. Saliba's going through him if he times it properly.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to take, was it Muniz? I think it is his name. He's trying to take Muniz out. He's trying to swipe Muniz completely through. And it's an absolutely insane decision. And I'm no Marco Silva fan. I'm no Fulham fan. I've got no ball in that camp whatsoever. But I couldn't believe it. And then the handball, it's definitely a handball from Sessegnon. But you've got to look at the Pedro one before that begins. You've let a whole other passage of play go through. And it's absolutely ridiculous. He got absolutely stiffed there yesterday. And in his interview after, he said, I want to be in the dugout for the next game. He handled that perfectly because I knew what he wanted to do. But yeah, it's a joke. It really is a joke.
It really is. I think Howard Webb, I'm a Real Gunner, needs looking at. Keith Hackett's talked about it on our show many times, and I'm sure we'll talk to him again about this.
He's a narcissist, Soph. They want to make it all about them. And he is the biggest. He was one of the biggest narcissist refs. And now it's just platform. Make it all about you.
Yeah.
And I
mean, the Premier League need to divorce themselves from. This is ruining the game. And it's going to get worse. We're only 3 games in, and this is the sign of what's to come this season. But I tell you something, I will not blame VAR because we need to play better. We need to do better. We need to have more balls. We need to be fearless. We need to trust the players that we have bought in the marketplace. And Mikel, you've been given all the tools and the resources. You have an amazing talent pool. I know Saka's injured. I know Havertz is injured. But we have got talented players. And once again, Slots had your number. It had been 6 games since Liverpool were able to beat us. And it's all well and good doing well, like getting close. But it's time to unleash Gyökeres. We've invested in him for a reason. Are we going to be a Champions League team again this season? I don't know. But right now, Mikel Arteta needs to figure out how to get the creativity flowing, because we all know and have seen Eza play. This guy is a beast. And he needs to get the best out of these guys. Zubimendi is a phenomenal player. Let him do his thing. Let him shine. Figure it out. Because today I felt like was a massive missed opportunity. James, let the kids know where they can find you.
Yeah, there it is at LL Cool James 91, and then all the links are on there. Thank you. Thank you as always. You know, positive or negative, I like reading it, and I like hearing what you all have to say. So
you actually got some good comments from last week's post-game show. So well done to you.
I'm winning people round. It's good. It's good to do.
Give the show a follow and a like. And for those of you that still like to read, we really do have a great new blog up on Highbury Squad, HighburySquad.com. And there's a new piece up about Eza being a game changer, potential game changer. Patrick's busting out some really good pieces. There's one coming about the academy. It's a 2-part piece. They're really, really good. And we're going to turn some of them into shows as well. The international break is coming up, but the Highbury Squad will not be taking a break. We're going to be bringing some shows to you with a variety of different guests. I'm planning on a fan roundtable, just like I do the podcaster and YouTuber roundtable as well. If you want to participate in that and you want your voice heard, email me, thehighburysquad@gmail.com. Email me at thehighburysquad@gmail.com, and I will include you in that fan roundtable. Monday Madness returns tomorrow. Look out on the community page for the time of the show. Thinking about going around 7 p.m. UK time. So we will discuss a little bit more about the Premier League, the results, the game, with a couple of special guests as well. And if you are able right now, go over to Toffee TV, please. They are doing a 24-hour marathon to raise money for the Kevin Campbell Foundation. Now, really good friends over at Toffee TV, Baz and Ped. I did a little video for them. Please go over to the YouTube channel, Toffee TV. Check it out. If you can put your hand in your pocket and give $1, 50p, whatever it is, it all counts to keep the legacy alive. The foundation are doing some amazing work at grassroots level with young girls and boys. And please show your support if you can. Pop over to Toffee TV. I'm going to pop in and say hello as well. Right. That's it, kids. Don't lose faith. It's hard not to, but it's only 3 games in. And we've already lost 1. And like one of our listeners said, we can't afford to lose too many. Make sure you follow James. Check his purely Arsenal. What is it called?
There's purely Arsenal, and then there's my own channel, which is just James Johnston Football. Nice and easy.
There you go. Go
Nice
give
and
him a follow,
simplistic.
please.
Yeah.
Please give him a follow. And
Thank
coming up this week, our debut for the season with the Arsenal Women's Show as well, with with Albert and Demian. Our Arsenal women, our winners, our champions of Europe are back. Until then, love you guys. Don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them at ease. And hopefully this international break will knock some sense into the manager and give our players who are already injured a rest. We'll see. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
These lovely messages from everybody. Stick together, everyone. We'll be just fine. End stream. Let's go watch some football.